So have you ever, wished you had a personal language coach? Someone right there with you, wherever, whenever.
Yeah, like a shortcut to actually speaking a new language, not just reading it.
Yes.
Especially when you're practicing alone.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into this really fascinating approach to English fluency. It's based on excerpts from something called Your Daily English Fluency Journey.
Right. And our mission here isn't just to, describe it. We want to unpack how this whole personal speaking partner thing actually works.
Dig into the methods.
The core methods, and really understand why it makes this promise to be a daily coach, a fluency booster. Can you really get fluent talking to, well, essentially yourself?
It's a bold claim, and it's definitely not your standard language app. The material suggests you can practice speaking English totally solo, but somehow feel like you're in a conversation, building that confidence word by word. So, okay, let's dig in. How does it claim to do that?
Well, the absolute central idea is that it is your personal speaking partner, your daily language coach, and your English fluency booster.
Okay.
And what I find really interesting is how it reframes solo practice. Normally, practicing alone can feel isolating.
Yeah, a bit sterile, maybe.
Exactly. But this tries to make it an interactive partnership.
Yeah.
That's huge because it tackles that fear, that anxiety a lot of learners have about speaking.
All right, the fear of judgment.
Totally. So by giving you this low pressure, always available partner, it encourages you to actually make the sounds to speak without worrying about mistakes.
And it emphasizes the accessibility, right? You can do it at home, walking, cleaning, relaxing, basically anywhere.
Anywhere, anytime.
The core instruction is just so simple. Just listen, repeat, and practice out loud. How does that flexibility, doing it while cleaning or whatever, make it feel more like a partnership?
Well, that flexibility is the key to the partnership feel, I think. It allows for really frequent but low stakes practice.
Little and often.
Exactly. We know from language acquisition research that consistent short bursts, especially when they're part of your routine, are way more effective than, say, one long study session a week.
Right.
This approach just weaves it into your day. It removes that I don't have time excuse. Mundane moments become learning moments. That integration is potentially a game changer.
It really sounds like it embeds itself in your daily life, which I guess leads us to the structure. It follows a full day in English, morning to night, waking up to going to sleep. How does that chronological flow actually help with fluency?
It's actually pretty clever, cognitively speaking. Following your own day puts all the vocabulary and phrases into a really natural context.
Oh, okay.
Our brains love narratives, right? So when you learn language tied to your sequence, wake up, get ready, commute, work, it sticks better. Association helps memory.
Makes it feel immediately relevant.
Totally. You're not just memorizing abstract lists. You're basically rehearsing your own life, but in English. That context makes it easier to recall later in actual conversations. Less mental effort needed.
And the program promises specific outcomes from this. Speak fluently, ask questions, answer confidently, sound natural. It also mentions these interactive pauses, telling you to stop often, to repeat words, practice phrases, and speak with me like we're having a conversation. What's actually happening during those pauses? Is it just hitting pause on a recording?
No, it's much more than that.
Yeah.
Those pauses are where the active learning kicks in. You shift from just listening passively to actively producing the language.
Okay.
It's not just mindless repetition. It engages your mouth, your vocal cords, the speaking pathways in your brain, and that instruction, speak with me, it triggers a kind of conversational mindset.
Even though you're alone.
Right. It trains your brain to expect a turn, think of a response, and say it out loud. Doing that consistently, even in this low-stakes way, builds up that muscle memory for conversation, makes you quicker, less hesitant later on.
Okay, so it breaks the learning down into chapters following the day, making it progressive. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the mechanics of how it builds fluency chapter by chapter.
Absolutely. Kicks off with chapter 1, waking up and starting the day. About 45 minutes. This is all about internalizing the language for those very first actions. Basic stuff. Wake up, get out of bed, stretch, yawn, alarm clock, sleepy, make the bed. Foundational words and verbs. But the key is the variety of practice types it uses.
Right. You mentioned different types. Let's talk about those. What are listen and repeat and your turn about?
So listen and repeat is pretty straightforward. It helps you get the pronunciation and intonation right. You hear it, you say it, get your ear and mouth used to the sounds.
Standard practice.
Yeah, but then your turn is where it gets more active. After you hear a phrase like, I wake up at 6 a.m., There's a specific pause where you have to say it, unprompted, just from memory.
Recall, not just recognition.
Exactly. That immediate recall forces your brain to retrieve and articulate. It strengthens those memory pathways way more than just hearing it again. Builds automaticity.
And this is where the speaking partner idea really seems to come in through role play. The script gives examples like, you, what time do you usually wake up? Me, I usually wake up at 6:30 a.m. What about you? And then a pause for the user. You, I wake up at.
Yes, and then there's also shadowing.
Right. Shadowing exercise, where it says, repeat after me exactly as I speak with longer chunks, like I wake up, I stretch, I yawn, I turn off the alarm. How do role play and shadowing build actual conversation skills?
Okay, these two are probably the powerhouse techniques here. Role play trains you in like conversational turn-taking and thinking ahead.
Predicting what comes next.
Sort of, yeah. You're not just repeating, you're formulating an actual answer to a question. That's the core of dialogue, right? It builds that flow. Shadowing, though, is more about fluency, rhythm, intonation.
Sounding natural.
Exactly. By mimicking the speaker precisely, you pick up the cadence, how words link together. It helps reduce that choppy, hesitant speech common in learners. It's about sounding smooth, not just correct.
Fascinating. Okay, so after that morning foundation, chapter 2, morning routine, keeps it going another 45 minutes, moves into brushing teeth, washing face, coffee.
The next logical steps.
And the speaking practice starts building longer routines, right? Like first I wake up, then I go to the bathroom, and then crucially prompts, now your turn, tries to say it again from memory. Why recall whole routines?
That's about chunking. Learning language in meaningful chunks. Instead of isolated words, you practice entire sequences of actions.
Like a script.
Kind of, yeah. Mental scripts for common situations. When you can rattle off your morning routine fluently, you're not thinking about each word, you're activating a whole pre-programmed sequence. That frees up brain power during a real chat.
So you can focus on the actual conversation, not just grammar.
Precisely.
And there's dialogue practice too, like, me, good morning, how do you start your day? You, good morning, I usually wake up and brush my teeth. Then it says, great, now say more, continue. That continue prompt seems designed to push you.
It is. It's nudging you beyond just the basic answer. It encourages you to elaborate, add details, just like in a real conversation.
With the ball rolling?
Yeah. It's a gentle push from simple recall towards more creative production.
Yeah.
Helps you learn to sustain a conversation.
Moving through the day, chapter 3 is going out, going to work or school. Another 45 minutes. Focus shifts to commuting, leave the house, take the bus, traffic.
The transition outwards.
Role play continues for travel details, and it adds reinforcement, like say it 3 times for phrases like, I leave home at. Does that simple repetition actually help?
It does, especially when it's layered like this. Just saying, I leave home at 3 times builds that immediate phonetic memory. Your mouth gets used to it.
Muscle memory again.
Right. But because it's combined with the role play in the context of the day, it's not just mindless drilling. It's active, meaningful repetition. It makes the phrase feel automatic.
Got it. Then chapter 4, at work or school, is a longer one, an hour. Vocabulary for desks, computers, meetings, homework.
The core activities of the day for many people.
And here it introduces building a speaking story. Stringing actions together. At work, I check my email, I reply to messages, I join a team meeting. What's the specific benefit of building these mini stories?
It's another level of chunking, really, connecting actions into a narrative. That's how we naturally talk about our day, isn't it? So it trains your brain to link sentences logically, chronologically. It's a step towards more sustained speech, telling little anecdotes, moving beyond just single sentences.
And there's a shadowing challenge mentioned for confidence-building phrases like, I'm working on a new project. How does repeating positive affirmations help fluency? That seems more psychological.
It is, but it's deeply connected. The shadowing challenge here does double duty. Yes, you're practicing the sounds and rhythm, but you're also internalizing positive self-talk in English.
Okay.
By saying things like, I'm learning new things, I ask for help when I need it, you're linking the language practice with building self-belief. It fights that inner critic.
That I can't do this voice.
Exactly. And that self-efficacy, that belief you can speak, is a massive, often overlooked part of becoming fluent. If you believe you can, you're more likely to try.
Makes sense. So the program continues through the rest of the day. Chapter 5, lunchtime, 6, coming home, 7, night routine. Covering everything from packed lunch to cook dinner to set the alarm. It keeps up the practice types, the paragraphs, the prompts. By the time you get to the end, simulating going to sleep, what's the cumulative effect?
The cumulative effect is potentially huge. You've just spent hours actively speaking English, covering the bread and butter vocabulary and phrases of daily life.
Interactive speaking, not just listening.
Crucially, yes. You've acquired words, sure, but you've practiced using them, asking questions, answering, having mini dialogues, telling stories about your day.
Yeah.
That consistent low-pressure output builds automaticity. It makes basic communication less effortful.
Frees up mental energy.
Right. Builds a really solid foundation based purely on structured, consistent practice.
And then interestingly, there's a bonus chapter, Small Talk and Daily Conversations. This shifts gears, moving away from the strict daily routine to general interactions. Topics like, how are you? What are your hobbies? And useful phrases like, can you say that again, please?
Yeah, crucial survival phrases.
But here's a question. After all that highly structured routine practice, how does that actually prepare you for the spontaneity of real small talk? Seems like a jump.
It seems like a jump, but I think it's more of a natural progression.
Yeah.
All that repetition, the active recall, the role play within the routines, it fundamentally builds that muscle memory and cuts down hesitation for any kind of speaking in English.
Okay.
When you can easily talk about your morning, your brain is just faster at forming English sentences, period. It's accessing words quicker. That automaticity carries over.
Like learning scales before improvising music.
That's a great analogy. Exactly. Mastering the fundamentals makes the creative part easier. The small talk chapter then gives you the specific social tools, the phrases, the questions to use that fluency you've built in less predictable situations.
That makes a lot of sense. So, summing up, the program ends with a celebration of progress. It reviews everything you've practiced.
From morning talk to small talk.
And importantly, it includes those affirmations again.
Yes, repetitive affirmations like, I am learning English every day. I can speak clearly and confidently. I enjoy practicing English alone.
And you're saying these aren't just platitudes?
No, I think they function as psychological anchors. Saying them out loud reinforces that positive self-image, helps combat the anxiety that can freeze you up.
Yeah.
Which is vital for actually using the language you've learned confidently and spontaneously.
Right. So the incredible progress it talks about isn't just vocabulary lists.
Not at all.
It's the speaking muscle memory, the conversational practice, and maybe just as vital, that boost in self-belief.
Absolutely. The source really nails it by highlighting the sheer time spent speaking hours building fluency and confidence.
And the core message seems to be about consistency.
Definitely. Remember, every word you speak is a step forward, and the final instruction is just keep going, come back tomorrow, repeat, speak, grow. Fluency is a journey, not a finish line.
It's a really compelling model for daily self-directed practice, simulating that human connection, but with total flexibility. Which leaves us with a thought to consider.
Yeah.
If dedicating this kind of consistent, interactive time to the routines of your day can unlock language fluency, where else in your life could this principle, consistent, deliberate, immersive daily practice, transform your learning journey, whatever the skill might be? Cutting through that constant flood of information and really giving you the essence, the stuff you actually need. It's tough keeping up, isn't it? So, we try to offer that shortcut, that guided tour to unpack some really unique and hopefully effective ways to learn things. Today, we're diving into something I think is pretty revolutionary, especially if you've ever struggled to really speak a new language. It's this immersive, full-day practice idea for getting fluent in English. And our source for this is a guide called Daily English Fluency, a full-day practice journey. Seems really practical.
It really is. And what's fascinating and genuinely different from how a lot of language learning works is the core idea it hits you with right away. It's not subtle.
Yeah.
It basically says, this is not just listening, this is speaking.
Active.
Exactly. This focus on doing, on output, not just input. Well, it taps into how we actually make skills stick, doesn't it? Moving from just recognizing something to actually being able to use it, like knowing about swimming versus actually jumping in the pool.
Yeah, good analogy. And that full day thing, that really jumps out. I mean, most people struggle to find 15 minutes, let alone a whole day. How does the guide make that work, integrating it from morning till night without it just feeling impossible?
Well, it's about reframing. It promises you'll learn common phrases, sure, but also speak clearly, repeat vocabulary, do real-life conversations, build sentences. It's about weaving English into the day you already have, not adding some huge extra block of study time.
Okay, I see. Less study time, more living time in English.
Precisely. And it tackles that feeling of, freezing up when you try to speak. It does this right from the start, integrating English into your most personal moments. It literally starts with chapters 1 and 2, focusing entirely on morning immersion.
Which makes sense. Morning routines are often pretty fixed, right? A good place to anchor a new habit. So, Chapter 1, Morning Mindset and Daily Beginnings, 45 minutes right as you wake up. It's not just vocabulary drills, it's weaving in motivational English, positive self-talk, like simple stuff, wake up, alarm clock, stretch. But also, today's a new day, I feel ready. You're sort of narrating your own start to the day. I wake up, I open my eyes slowly.
And importantly, that positive self-talk, things like, I am strong, I am learning, I can speak English, building that confidence muscle from minute 1. Then it shifts slightly to free speaking prompts like, today I want to learn, or today I feel.
How does it make sure you're actually, doing it, not just reading it? You mentioned active participation.
Right, good question. 2 main techniques the source uses are shadowing and role play. Shadowing here isn't just repeating audio, it's shadowing your own actions. Saying, I get out of bed as you get out of bed, or I brush my teeth while you're brushing.
Ah, okay. Connecting the language directly to the physical action.
Exactly. And then there's immediate role play. The guide might prompt, me, good morning, how are you feeling today? And you, the learner, have to respond out loud, you, I feel. It forces that immediate application in a simple conversational context.
Okay, that's clever. Then chapter 2, morning routine and getting ready. Builds on that for, 50 minutes? Taking all of those normal things, brushing teeth, showering, breakfast, and turning them into practice.
It gives you the vocabulary prompts like, I brush my teeth for 2 minutes. But the real insight, I think, is normalizing thinking and speaking in English about these mundane things you do anyway.
So you're constantly activating the language.
Yes. And the role play continues. Simple stuff like, me, what do you usually eat for breakfast? You.
Yeah.
I usually eat. But here's the bit that I found really interesting, kind of an aha moment. It's how it combines actions into a narrative.
What do you mean?
Instead of just saying, I wake up, then later I brush my teeth, it guides you to connect them. First, I wake up. Then I brush my teeth. I take a shower and comb my hair. I make some tea. I eat toast and eggs. You're building a little story of your morning.
Kind of like narrating your own mini-movie in English.
Exactly. That narrative practice is so useful.
And the guide has this core tip, this principle that ties it together. Think in English, speak out loud, describe everything you do, even if you are alone. That feels key. Turning that inner voice into an active English generator, it must tap into memory techniques, right? Like active recall.
Absolutely. Continuous retrieval in different everyday contexts. So you've got this foundation set in the morning. Then the guide moves you through the rest of your day. Chapters 3 and 4 cover leaving the house and commuting, and then work school tasks. That's almost 2 hours combined.
Some more practical stuff, getting around, workplace talk.
Yes, the vocabulary for that. But again, the main point isn't just the words like traffic or check email. It's the application. You're encouraged to actually describe your commute out loud. I leave the house at 8 a.m., I walk to the bus stop. Or describe a whole hour of your work.
Using shadowing, too, like for thoughts.
Yeah, shadowing sentences provided like, I listen to music while I travel, I look outside the window, I feel calm and ready for the day. It's about getting comfortable using English for these everyday, often quite repetitive parts of life.
Makes sense. You build fluency through that consistent use.
And the guide knows you need a break. So chapter 5 is lunch break plus friendly talk. Only 30 minutes, but crucial. Focuses on food words, polite social chat, things you actually need if you're interacting with people.
Right, keeps it realistic, prevents burnout maybe.
I think so. And you're practicing full sentences, not just words. I usually eat lunch at 12:30. I order soup and a sandwich. I talk with my coworkers. You're role-playing about lunch preferences, practicing pronunciation for phrases like, let's take a break, or this food is delicious, making the most of that downtime.
Smart. Okay, so after lunch, back to work or tasks.
Yep, chapter 6. Afternoon work tasks, energy boost. Another 45 minutes. This bit is about keeping going, asking for help if you need it, describing what you're working on. Phrases like, I return to work, I finish my project, I ask questions when I'm not sure.
Maintaining momentum.
And building confidence with phrases like, what should I do next? Or can I help you with that? Or even just almost done. It pushes you here, challenges you to speak about your afternoon for 3 minutes straight, reinforcing that consistency.
Oh, it's really about that sustained effort throughout the whole day.
Exactly. Then, as the day winds down, it transitions smoothly. Chapters 7 and 8 cover the evening and night routine. That's over an hour total. Chapter 7, evening time going home and relaxing. It's about using English to describe ending your workday, how you feel, what you do to relax.
Validating the day.
Right. You practice phrases like, I finish work at 6 p.m., I go home, and so on. Describing cooking dinner, relaxing, and it moves into paragraph building. Putting sentences together to describe your evening cohesively. Like, after a long day, I go home, I take a warm shower, I relax and feel peaceful.
Building that narrative skill again, cementing sentence structure.
And then finally, Chapter 8, night routine plus gratitude practice. 45 minutes. This is about calming down, reviewing the day, basic action phrases. I brush my teeth, I change into pajamas, I set my alarm.
But the gratitude part sounds really interesting. That's often missed in learning.
It's powerful. The self-talk shift to affirmations like, I did my best today, I learned new things, I spoke English, I feel proud of myself, I will rest and try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
It really focuses on acknowledging the effort and progress, which is crucial for motivation.
And personal reflection too. Today I learned, tomorrow I will.
Yes, prompting you to internalize what you've achieved and setting an intention for the next day, building that positive feedback loop.
So it wraps up nicely. What's the final message?
The last part, fluent English speaker in progress. It's about 20 minutes. It's a celebration, really. It stresses progress, not perfection. Saying things like, I am on a journey, I am learning every day, I don't need to be perfect, I just need to keep going.
That's a great mindset shift. Takes the pressure off.
Definitely. And it gives you a clear action plan for continuing. Speak English for 15 minutes every morning. Describe your routine. Use these conversations again. Talk to yourself. And importantly, believe in your progress. It's about making it a sustainable habit.
Right, not just a one-day wonder.
So tying this all together for you, our listener, this daily English fluency journey is just incredibly comprehensive. It's so integrated. Its real power, I think, isn't just what you practice, but how it gets woven into your actual life. Routine becomes practice. It makes learning almost unavoidable.
Yeah, it's a fascinating blueprint, really, for learning almost anything, not just language. This whole immersive idea, thinking in the skill, speaking it aloud, fitting it into every corner of your day, it avoids that feeling of adding another huge task.
You're using time you already spend, just differently, more actively.
So that leads to a thought, doesn't it, for you listening?
If this kind of full-day immersion, embedding the learning into every moment, works so well for language, how could you maybe adapt that principle, that idea of pervasive active immersion? Could you apply it to another skill you want? Playing guitar, thinking more critically, maybe even mindfulness.
Right. What would a full-day immersion look like for you in something like, say, creative problem solving or just being more present? Something to think about. Have you ever felt that that feeling of just being swamped with information? Like you're learning about something, but it doesn't quite click. You almost wish you could just, live it. Immerse yourself so it becomes automatic. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of experience. Not just learning about it, but actually doing it. Welcome to the deep dive, our mission today. To unpack a really practical, pretty innovative way to learn a language, it comes from a source called Daily English Fluency, a full-day practice journey. Now, this isn't just, another language course. What caught my eye is its promise. It wants to turn passive learning into active, confident speaking. And it does this by guiding you through your whole day, like from waking up to going to sleep, all in English. It says you won't just listen, you'll speak. You won't just learn words, you'll use them. You won't just study English.
You'll live in English.
Exactly. Through interactive prompts, telling you to repeat out loud, answer questions, visualize things, respond.
Yeah. And what's really innovative, I think, is how it tackles that common hurdle, speaking confidence, head on. It's not about drilling lists, is it? It's weaving practice into, just your normal day, which makes you wonder, how much faster could you actually get fluent if every moment, pouring coffee, checking email, is a chance to practice speaking? The goal seems clear. Build your speaking confidence, one little moment at a time. And it starts right away, doesn't it? With those motivational phrases you repeat.
Oh yeah, like I am learning English, I am becoming fluent, I can speak clearly.
I will practice today. I believe in myself. It sort of sets the stage mentally.
So, okay, how does it actually work day to day? This is where it gets really interesting. The journey literally starts the second you open your eyes. It kicks off with Chapter 1, Wake Up and Morning Motivation. That's, 45 minutes? Just focused on starting your day with self-talk in English.
And if you look at the big picture of language learning, starting like that is quite strategic. This chapter zeroes in on what it calls fluency starters. and basic daily verbs. And these aren't random words. They're the common verbs, the simple phrases you use constantly, like wake up, stretch, breathe.
The absolute basics.
Exactly. Immediate practical things. So you can build confidence right away on stuff you already do.
And the practice itself feels very active. It prompts you to say what you're doing, like, I open my eyes, the alarm is ringing. I stretch my arms, I take a deep breath. And it specifically says, repeat it again with emotion.
That emotional connection is key, isn't it? Makes it stick better than just rote repetition.
Definitely. Then it shifts into self-motivation, having you say things like, today is a good day. I will speak English confidently. I am strong. I am improving. I believe in myself. It even suggests mirror work, saying, I am a fluent speaker. I love learning.
Reinforcing that positive identity.
And then, bam, a mini conversation. Like, me, how did you sleep? And you're prompted to answer, I slept well, thank you. Just getting you talking immediately.
Right, activating that responsive part of language from the very start.
So after that motivational boost, it flows right into chapter 2. Getting ready, another 45 minutes, covering all those routine actions. This bit focuses on building clear, full sentences about, brushing your teeth, washing your face.
Yeah, and the vocabulary is super practical. Bathroom, shower, shampoo, get dressed.
Yeah.
Things you actually need. But what's clever here is the progression. It starts simple. I go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth. But then it pushes you. Now say the whole thing in one paragraph, slowly and clearly.
So it's building towards more connected speech, not just isolated phrases.
Exactly. It's about coherence, natural rhythm, moving beyond just listing actions to actually describing a sequence fluidly.
Yeah.
That makes your brain work a bit harder, connect the dots, which is crucial for real conversation, right?
Totally. And there's role play too, asking what do you usually do after you wake up? So you have to structure your own answer.
Putting you on the spot in a good way.
Then, naturally, comes breakfast. Chapter 3, breakfast time. 30 minutes on food words, talking about taste, making choices. You're saying things like, I make coffee, I toast bread, I fry an egg, and describing it, my toast is warm and crunchy.
The coffee smells strong, engaging the senses.
And predictably now, a mini conversation follows. What do you usually eat for breakfast?
Making you use that vocab immediately. Yeah, active recall, right? Not just passive learning.
Exactly. Then the morning section wraps up with Chapter 4, leaving the house, another 30 minutes. This gets you ready for outside. Commute words, checking the weather, grabbing your keys, locking the door.
Very practical stuff.
And the weather talk part is great. It prompts you with, what's the weather like today? And gives you structures like, it's raining lightly, or it's warm and sunny, things you actually say.
Yeah, everyday essentials.
So you're out the door. Now, a lot of learning methods might, stop there for a bit, but this daily English fluency thing, it keeps going. What happens during those big chunks of the day, like work or school? Does it just pause?
Not at all. And that's what's quite compelling. It fully integrates English into those professional or academic settings too. Chapter 5. At work or school is a whole hour. And the focus shifts to more functional, transactional language. Tasks, communication, asking for help.
So stuff you actually need to do things.
Precisely. Real world application. It walks you through a typical schedule. I arrive at work at 9 a.m. I check my email. I reply to messages. I prepare for a meeting. Repeating these common work phrases builds like a muscle memory for it.
That makes sense. And it highlights those polite phrases, the ones that can be tricky.
Yes. Things like, could you explain that again? Or, I need a little help, please.
Let me check and get back to you. Gold. Stuff you absolutely need.
Right. And repeating them helps embed them. And again, there's a conversation prompt. What are you working on today?
So you practice talking about your actual tasks using the new vocabulary.
Exactly. Immediate application.
Then comes lunch. Chapter 6, lunchtime talk, 30 minutes. This shifts the tone a bit, right? More casual.
Yeah, it focuses on food again, but also relaxing phrases, casual chat. You describe your break. I go to the cafeteria, I order chicken and rice, I sit with my friends, we laugh and talk. It's about social interaction too.
And it includes small talk prompts like, how's your day going so far?
Or, what did you order for lunch? Basic social glue kinds of questions.
And I see there's a fluency challenge here too. Describe your perfect lunch in 5 sentences.
Right, pushing you slightly beyond simple answers towards more descriptive extended speech. Little challenges keep it engaging.
Okay, so even as the main part of the workday finishes, the practice keeps rolling. It really covers the whole day. This commitment to continuous immersion, it really shows it's not just an academic thing, it's about making English part of your life rhythm.
Absolutely. And what's interesting in the later chapters, if we connect it back, is this shift towards more reflective and personal language. It's not just about task anymore. Take chapter 7, afternoon tasks. It's 40 minutes, covering finishing up work, but also how to ask politely for help again.
So more practice with phrases like, I finish a report, I send an update, but also the polite requests, excuse me, do you have a minute?
Yes. Can I ask you something? I'm not sure how to do this. Reinforcing those crucial interaction skills.
And it includes affirmations here too, like, let's solve this together, I'll do my best.
Yeah, fostering that collaborative, positive mindset, even when facing challenges. Thank you for helping me. Basic politeness reinforced.
Then moving into the evening, chapter 8, evening wind down. A full hour here.
And this is where it really covers that transition home, relaxing, but importantly, sharing how you feel.
The emotional vocabulary.
Crucial for deeper connection and fluency. You're practicing things like, I leave work at 6 p.m., I go home, I feel a little tired, I relax on the sofa, I cook dinner, I listen to music, describing the winding down process.
And the feeling part is explicit. I feel peaceful, I feel proud of today, or even, I feel like watching a movie.
Right. It connects the language directly to your internal state. Makes English feel more personal, less like just a tool for external tasks.
That's a really nice touch. And of course, a conversation prompt. How was your day?
Perfect way to practice summarizing, pulling together everything you've mentally rehearsed throughout the day.
Finally, the end of the day.
Yeah.
Chapter 9, night routine and reflection. Another 45 minutes. This sounds calmer, focusing on gratitude, reflection.
Exactly. Calm English practice before bed. Simple, soothing sentences. I brush my teeth. I change into pajamas. I drink tea. I turn off my phone. I write in my journal. I feel calm and grateful.
And the reflection part sounds powerful. Sentences like, today I practiced English. I learned new words. I spoke out loud.
I feel more confident. I'm getting better every day. It's metacognition, thinking about your learning, which is really effective.
And gratitude practice too. I'm thankful for today. I'm thankful for my health.
I'm thankful for my learning. I'm thankful for this journey.
Yeah.
It ends the day on a really positive, reinforcing note for the whole process.
Wow. Okay, just stepping back and thinking about going through that whole structured day, it's pretty remarkable. You've literally lived a day in English. You've practiced speaking in real-life contexts, dealt with daily routines, work, feelings.
You've definitely improved your confidence just by doing it moment by moment.
It feels like a genuinely significant step towards fluency, and that final encouragement it gives you.
Yeah. I am a fluent English speaker in progress. I believe in myself. I will continue tomorrow.
Every word I speak makes me stronger. That's powerful stuff.
And it doesn't just leave you there, right? It gives concrete next steps.
Right. Suggestions like practice again tomorrow, obviously, but also record your voice. Talk to yourself in English.
Watch, repeat, and review. And, crucially, celebrate your progress. Acknowledging the effort is so important.
It's a very holistic approach, isn't it? Content, practice, mindset, consistency.
It really seems to cover all the bases for building practical fluency.
So thinking about how this really structured full-day immersion builds confidence, and it does it through that consistent, active practice, connecting language to actions and emotions. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How could you maybe take this idea of micro-immersions, these little structured practice moments, and apply them to other things you want to learn, other skills in your life?
That's a fascinating thought. Could structuring practice throughout your day like this accelerate learning in completely different areas? Interesting question to ponder.